And are we live now? I think we're live now. I think I just actually finally fixed this thing. I'm not real positive, but I think I just fixed this thing. I think I just fixed it. For those of you who are watching this after the fact and not live, you're wondering what the hell is going on. I think I just fixed it. I'm not sure, but let's hold on. And yeah, so there I am. I have fixed it. So, okay, guys, now that we are finally up and running, yes, we are up and running. Thank goodness. I have a couple announcements I want to make about the Pride. First of all, thank you for joining me. I've got a couple announcements I want to make about the Pride, and then I want to take some of your questions as well from the chat board about the book, because so many of you guys have been hearing me talk ad nauseum about this book for months now. So let me get into the announcements about the Pride first, okay? And then don't start typing in your questions just yet, because they'll just stream by and I won't be able to see them anymore. So let me get through my announcements first. My first announcement is that the Pride, the Kindle ebook version of the Pride, is now available on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and search The Pride, John Campea, whatever, you are going to find it, and it is available for pre-order right now. You can pre-order the Kindle ebook version. There is a printed copy, a physical book version coming as well, but you can pre-order the Kindle ebook version right now, which I'm very, very excited about. It's there. You can go do it. The book, both the Kindle ebook version and the paperback physical version, become available on Monday, February 29th. So not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. They go on sale, able for you to pick them up and buy them. If you were one of my Kickstarter supporters, give me a couple. I still don't have any physical copies of the book myself, so give me a couple weeks to get those in and then start shipping those out if you were one of my Kickstarter supporters. But they should be available on Amazon Monday, the 29th of February. So just like 9 or 10 days from now. And I'm really, really excited about that. Now, already a bunch of people are asking me in the comment section, you're asking me, is there going to be an audio edition, an audio version on Audible? And the answer to that is yes, there is going to be an audio edition. Now, I can't tell you right now when the audiobook version will be available right now, but it's going to be soon. It's not going to take an awful lot of time for the Audible version to come along, but it won't be available. The audiobook version won't be available on Monday the 29th, but it will be available shortly thereafter. So announcement number one. The pre-orders for the Kindle ebook are now available for pre-order. You can find them on Amazon right now by going to Amazon.com and searching for the Pride John Campea or Pride Campea or whatever. You'll find it. Announcement number two, the Kindle ebook versions and the physical paperback books will be available and go on sale on Monday the 29th, and you'll be able to get those on Amazon.com. And announcement number three is that there is going to be an audiobook version of the Pride. So I'm super excited about that. That just got confirmed today. And by the way, guys, you can start typing in questions. If you have questions about the book or anything like that regarding the book, please don't ask me movie questions right now about the movie business. I'll get to those when I'm on Movie Talk this week, I'm sure. But as you can start sending in those questions now. I came up with the idea for the Pride 7 years ago. I can't believe this thing is done. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you've probably been hearing me mention this book for the last couple of years. I actually started working on this book 5 years ago. Is when I actually first started typing it out and writing out the first 20-page outline that I came up with and working from there. I've been working on this book in different iterations for 5 years. And so it is absolutely amazing to me that this thing is finally done. So anyway, with all that being said, the first question that's in here, I'm seeing a bunch of people asking the question, what inspired you to do the book? Well, I was actually at the time, When I came up with the idea for the book, I was actually shooting my movie, The Anniversary, and I was just happened to be in a creative frame of mind. I guess I wanted to be creative, but anyway, I don't know how creative I am, but I wanted to be creative. And I just happened to be thinking about dragons, and then this idea for a story hit me. And I just wanted to put it to paper. And so it started off as the idea for a screenplay, and then I kind of transitioned to a graphic novel. And then about 5 years ago, I settled on doing it as a novel. Even though I never wrote a novel before, and I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to writing novels. But that was kind of the initial inspiration for doing the book. Somebody's asking me here, what is the Pride's target demographic? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know. And that makes me stupid, because one of the first things you read about in how to become a novelist and all this kind of stuff, and I don't consider myself a novelist. I consider myself somebody who wrote a novel, but that doesn't make me a novelist. But is know who your demographic is. And I don't know who my demographic is, honestly. I just sat down and wrote out the story that I wanted to write. And hopefully it will appeal to you guys. Hopefully you'll like it. Maybe you'll love it and think it's the greatest thing ever. Maybe you'll think it's a big pile of dog shit. I mean, I don't know. All I know is that I really love it, and I wanted to write the story that I loved. And I'm going to be really nervous over the next week between now and when the book goes on sale to start hearing your feedback, because I don't know if you guys are going to hate it or if you're going to love it and think it's the greatest thing ever. I just don't know. I'm kind of freaked out about it. But yes, so I don't really have any demographic. Scared Simon is asking, does it have dragons? I'll just bring this up right now. That cover, that is the cover. That is the front, the spine, and the back cover, by the way, for the Pride right there. And as you can see, yes, there are absolutely dragons in this story. There are absolutely dragons that play a prominent role in this book. All right, somebody's asking me, has it already been optioned already? For a movie. I'll say this. I've actually had a couple of producers talk to me about it just because they knew I was doing a book. And so they've wanted to talk about, taking the next steps and getting it turned into a movie. But what I said to them is what I've been saying to my friends as well. Hold your horses. Let's get the book out first. Because just because I love it, what does that mean? That means nothing. I'm the guy who wrote it. Of course I love it. So that doesn't mean anything. Let's get it out there and get it into the hands of people and see if people like it. So there have been a couple of short conversations, but I basically cut those conversations off because, I don't know if people are going to love it or people are going to hate it. So I said, let's see if people actually like the book first, and then we'll start thinking about whether there's going to be any kind of a movie version. Reese Evans is asking me, will you be the one to pick the voice actor for the audio version? Yes, I will be the one picking the voice actor. And some people, Anne and Kaori and my assistant Wendy and stuff like that have all been trying to tell me, John, you should do it. You should read the audiobook version because people want to hear the author reading the book. And while that, I totally agree with that. I think that's true. I suck. I'm not an actor. I'm not a voice actor. I would be terrible. I could read the page. I know how to read copy, like in a radio thing. But when it comes to performing different roles and taking on different characters and the voices and changes, I would be awful at that. So even though a lot of people have asked me, will I be doing the voice in my audiobook? The answer to that is no, because I know I suck, and I'd want to get somebody who's actually really good at it. So I would want to get a professional. Okay, the next question that somebody's asking me is, what Seamus is writing, is The Pride going to be part of a series or just a one-off book? I get a lot of people asking me about that. The Pride, I would love to do a sequel to The Pride. And it's written in such a way that it lends itself and opens itself up for other stories and for the story to be continued. But again, it's like the movie question. Let's get the book out. Number one, see if people buy it. And then even if people buy it, number two, let's see if people like it. Once we answer those questions, did people buy it? And then did people like it? If the answer is yes to both of those questions, then absolutely, I'm absolutely planning on doing the next chapter of The Pride, and we'll see where that goes. Lauren Snyder is asking, what, if anything, influenced the story? Not a lot, to be honest with you. Here's a weird answer to that. Just before I came up with the idea for The Pride, I had seen the first Twilight movie, John, are you saying The Pride is like Twilight? No, not at all. But one of the things that I appreciated about Twilight was, even if they didn't do it so well, I appreciated that they were taking a standard mythology, vampires, and we're messing around with the mythology. Like the whole idea in Twilight, even though they didn't execute it well, the idea of saying each vampire has their own unique abilities. The notion that, no, they don't burn in sunlight, they actually sparkle in sunlight. Like all that kind of stuff. I just liked the idea of taking a traditional mythology and then messing around with it a bit. And that I then brought that sensibility to dragons. And I thought about what are some of the common mythologies about dragons, and which ones, if I had to create a world with dragons, which ones would I keep of the traditional mythologies and which ones would I want to mess around with a little bit? And so I did that. And then I think another thing that really inspired me was The Godfather. I think if you really know The Godfather, I think you'll see some Godfather influences in the story as well. So yeah, that would be my my stuff there. Emily Van Natter's writing, what would the rating be of the book? Could I let younger sibling read it? It's a good question. It's not PG. The book is not PG. I think if this book was a movie, it would be a harder PG-13. I think I could get, I don't think this book is rated R. Certainly there's violence, there's a little bit of language, certainly there's a bunch of that stuff, but I think it would be a hard PG-13. I don't think it would be rated R. So when you say a younger sibling, it really depends on how young. 10 years old? No, probably not. 15 years old? Yeah, probably. That's just my guess. That'll be up to each person. Somebody's asking me, please get Katy Perry to do the book. No, I will not be getting Katy Perry to do the book. Thank you very much. James Denzelli is, a bunch of people are asking, how long is the book? It is 106,000 words. After I formatted it the way I formatted it, I crunched it down to 310 pages. So yes, it is 310 pages. Somebody is asking, where did it go? What will the price of the book be? There are two different prices. The price for the physical book is going to be $15. The price for the audiobook is $7.99. Now, some people were writing to me on Twitter today saying that they felt that $7.99 was too expensive for an audiobook. I got to tell you, I researched it. I talked to a lot of industry professionals. And while there are a bunch of cheap books that you can get on Kindle for like $1.99 or $2.99, when you look at a lot of the flagship books, whether it's like a New Dawn or Lords of the Sith, whatever, they're like $10. And I felt very comfortable with $7.99 as a price point. It's, people pay $4 for a digital copy of a comic book that you read in 8 minutes. So I felt comfortable charging $7.99 for a book that's going to be about 11 or 12 hours worth of reading. So my price point for the physical book is going to be about $15. The price point for the digital book is going to be about $7.99. Somebody's asking, George Ortiz is asking, when do you plan to release the book? Obviously, you got here a little bit late. The book is released. Both the ebook version and the physical book are being released on Monday, February 29th. That's when they become available to purchase on Amazon.com. But you can pre-order the book now on Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon.com and search for The Pride, John Campea, and you'll find it, and you'll be able to pre-order the Kindle ebook version. You can't yet pre-order the physical version of the book. That's going to come a little bit later. Let's see. Sorry, guys. The thing is moving so fast that I'm having a hard time keeping up with it. Somebody's asking, Nathan Fillion? I would love to get Nathan Fillion. Somebody's asking, are you going to do a press tour for the book and go around and do book signings for it? Once again, it's like the movie thing. We'll see. I mean, for all I know, 50 people will buy the book. And out of those 50 people, only 20 of them like it. And if that's the case, then no, I'm not going to go on tour. John can't be a sucky novel tour. No, I'm not going to go on tour then. If the book sells a few thousand copies and the feedback is good, then yeah, I will look at maybe arranging some signings somewhere. Michael is asking, what genre is the book? Is it fantasy? Yeah, I'd call it sci-fi fantasy in a way. I mean, it deals, I'm going to let you, without being spoiler-y, I'm going to let you know, the story jumps around in time. It jumps from like way in the past to the present, then back to the past, then back to the present. And it deals with dragons. And as you see from the book cover, there are dragons in the city. It's in Los Angeles. So I would call it a modern fantasy, in a way, kind of sci-fi. James Dizzle is writing, did you see yourself in any of the characters? Nah, I didn't see myself in any of the characters, especially not the main character, who is Petros. I didn't see myself in that character whatsoever. Somebody saying, John, you have 30,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. You'll sell at least 500 copies. You know, I got 30,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I've got almost 60,000 people following my Twitter, but that doesn't really mean anything when it comes to selling something, right? I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, it's a different ball game. The moment you sell something, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you could have 100 followers and then be selling something that is really appealing. You could sell 10,000 copies of it, or you could have 60,000 Twitter followers and make something that doesn't really appeal to people. So I really don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know if I'm going to sell 50 copies, 500 copies, 5,000 copies. I mean, I just don't know. I'm excited to find out, though. We'll see what happens. Alexander is writing, if it were to be adapted as a screenplay, would you want to write it or somebody else? And would you do a cameo? Once again, kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Let's see if people like the book first. But no, I think if it was optioned by somebody to make a movie out of it, I think they should get a professional screenwriter to write it. And I'd be there to consult. I'd totally be there to consult. But if somebody's going to put up a lot of money to get movie rights to something, get a professional screenwriter. I don't have delusions of grandeur. I'm not a professional screenwriter. I've written some screenplays, but there are much better people out there at it than me. And I would think they would need to get somebody else to do that. Let's see. Get Morgan Freeman to read your book. Yeah, why not? Some of you guys are saying you'll buy the book no matter what. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Well, okay, I wanted to keep this. Somebody's saying, hey, John, what's the premise of the book? And let me just bring up the back cover of the book here quick. And this is just from the back cover. Thousands of years ago, in the shadow of a vast mountain range, a race of dragons awoke. Not knowing who they were, where they came from, or how they fell asleep in the first place, the dragons began to make a place for themselves in the world. Perhaps the most magnificent of this new race was Agathon. In a time of unprecedented peril for their kind, the dragons turned to Agathon to save their species from the constant human threat. Thus, the great plan was born. Today, life for Petros Renal couldn't be more perfect. As he prepares to graduate from university and head off to an elite postgraduate program, he's also preparing to ask the girl he loves to marry him. Everything was perfect until the headaches came. Struggling to understand the whats and whys of the pain which now became his new reality, Petros discovers his mysterious connection to an ancient race thought only to be the stuff of legends and myth. So that is the premise. I don't want to give too much more away because it will be, I don't want to get spoilery at this point. Somebody is asking, how did you come up with the character names? There are a couple names that I just always loved. I've always loved the name Petros. I just always loved it. It might go back to like my theology days because there's Saint Peter in Christian, the Judeo-Christian faith. Saint Peter, his original name in the Greek was Petros, and so I just always thought it was a cool name. So I wanted to use that name. Agathon is a name I just kind of came up with. I just tried to think of because I had this character who's like the most magnificent of the dragons. And I just want to come up with a cool name, and I just really like the feel of Agathon. So it was just as silly and as simple as that. People are asking, where will the book be available? It will pretty much be available anywhere you can get books from Amazon. So if you're in a country where you can get online and order a book from Amazon, you should be able to get it no problem. Now I'll just take like two more. Somebody's asking, you said your family was a big influence. Did you see any of your family in some of the characters? Yeah, I did. Actually, you know what? It's not so much that I saw members of my family in the characters. It's more that I took a lot of the traits of my family, and put them in the Pride. You know, the Pride was their family. By the way, for those of you who still don't understand, the pride does not mean the emotion pride. It's as in like a pride of lions, right? Or in this case, a pride of dragons. And so I think a lot of the traits and characteristics of my family, I wrote into the family of the Pride. And so I saw that. I heard C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien were big influences of you. Could you elaborate on that? Yeah, they were just two writers who just had great, vivid imagination. Neither of them were scared to do things that were different for them. Neither of them were scared to step into uncharted territory for them. And so, you know, I was tempted as a fledgling new writer to just write about what I know. But I decided to follow the example of C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien and just step out and just keep write about stuff I don't know about and just see where my story goes. And that's how I took my influence from there. Dennis saying Amazon only, not iTunes. I believe the audio book will be available on iTunes, but I believe the book itself will not. So which is fine because every single media device, if you want an electronic version, if you want a digital version, every device, an iPad, an iPhone, Android tablets, Windows phones and tablets, they all have Kindle apps, and you can very easily get them that way. And I'll take one more question. Somebody's asking, is there a Christian metaphor in it? Fair question, because, you know, as a lot of you guys know, I have a background in theology and stuff like that. But honestly, no, I didn't go out of my way to keep a Christian metaphor out of the book, but I didn't go out of my way to put a Christian metaphor into the book. So no, when you read the book, you'll certainly see there is no Christian metaphor in this book. And the last question I will take, because it says something to me. Are you proud of the Pride? The answer to that question is unequivocally yes. I am super proud of this book. Just in the last few weeks, as I was putting the finishing touches on it, sitting down and reading it through from cover to cover a couple of occasions, personally, look, the only thing I knew to do is to write a story that I liked. That's all I can do. And I believe I wrote a story that I really like and I love. I love these characters. I love this story. It's intricate. It's an intricate story. There's a lot of threads that you got to follow in the story, and it jumps back and forth in time. But I think as you get into the book, as I get into the book in any way, I fall in love with these characters. I love this story, but take all that with a grain of salt. I wrote it, so obviously I do. But I can honestly tell you I do. I love it, and I can't wait to find out if you guys like it or not. Can't wait, and I'm terrified. I'm scared shitless. Well, let's be honest. I'm totally scared shitless to find out if you guys like it or hate it. But I'm also really just proud of the fact that I finished it. Like I said, I came up with the idea for the Pride 7 years ago. I started working on the Pride 5 years ago. And like I said, for you guys who've been following me for any period of time, I've talked about it on the show as early as like 2012 and like some videos I mentioned, hey, I'm working on this book and blah, blah, blah. And to finally be able to say it's done is mind-blowing to me. And I'm super happy. I'm very proud. And thank you guys for all your encouragement and support. So I wanted to keep this video really short, so I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you guys. Please point people back to this video if they have questions or you see people having questions about the book. Feel free to be proactive and answer the questions for them if you saw the answer in this book. So thank you so much, guys, for your support and for your encouragement over the past number of years. And you guys like shouting out to me saying, hey, looking for your book and all that kind of stuff. And it's just been so encouraging and it has helped me a lot. Thank you so much. I will answer this one last question because I'm getting a lot of people asking me, John, will you do translations for the book? There are no plans to translate the book into any other language other than English, unless the book sells really well. If the book sells really well, and then I have some resources to commission some translations into other languages, then I will look at doing that. So right now, there are no plans to translate into other languages, but if the book does well and people like it, then I will look at getting it translated into other languages. Probably start with Spanish, French, some European languages, but yeah, so that's it. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this with me, and I can't wait to see what happens. All right, thanks again, guys. Talk to you soon.